So no matter how many Diwali party I attended, Christmas parties or now New Year parties, there was one constant worry in the mind of all parents, especially if their kids are in middle school, and that is, should I plan for study abroad for my kid in bachelor's or think later about it in master's? So basically the question is, should my child continue in India for their college, or should I think about study abroad options? Now, most likely you will not have a definitive answer to that because yes, I mean, kids are pretty young for when they go to college, and not all of us feel comfortable sending them abroad. But at the same time, we also know that the scene of the Indian competitive exams, right, it's very, very unpredictable. So what happens, a lot of time parents are coming to us at 24 North Star in class when they're in class 11th or early in class 12th, that like, now I don't think the competitive exam route is going to work for us. Is there anything we can do abroad? And that I feel gets a little bit late. But anyways, you don't have to decide all that right now. But even as you mull over this question of like, how to keep my options open, the very critical question comes up is what to do about the schooling. What board should I choose for my kid, especially from 9th class onwards? Because I'm hearing a lot of IB schools are opening up, and people say that IB board is great for overall holistic development of the kid. So what should I do? Like, should I move my kid to a new board at this stage, etc.? So what I thought that like, now this is not just your dilemma, by the way. I know every parent is like, grappling with this question, and as a new mom, I'm sure as my kid grows up, I'm going through these same complex question very soon, and it's not easy to decide. But as somebody specializing in career coach, especially for high school kids, I thought I'll do this video, and I want to talk about the lesser known stuff about these boards, what really matters when you have to make a decision between different boards. So I want to do a very genuine comparison of these different boards, talk about issues that actually matter, and then which will hopefully help you decide that whatever is you think is the right choice for you, you can make that decision. So let's get started. Okay, hi parents. So welcome back to the channel, and I had already recorded this video twice, but I ended up deleting them because I felt they were too robotic. I mean, you can do a quick Google search and find a generic comparison of these boards, right? But I didn't want to do the video for the sake of it. I thought as a career coach, I should add my 2 cents, like, what are some of the insights I've gathered by working with different clients from different boards, and what is some of the insider information I can give you. So I'm reshooting this video, and I hope it helps you. And if it does, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithms and encourages us to create more such videos for you. So today what I want to do is, I thought I'll start with a quick overview of each board and talk about what really matters. That is like, how expensive they are going to be for you, how globally recognized they are for you. Then we will get into the second part, which is what is the biggest drawback of each board. So this you should be aware of, that this is the biggest risk I'm taking if I send my kid to this board. Then let's talk about the biggest plus point of each board, that is what is their real USP and does it matter to me. And lastly, I will just like, share my thoughts on how do you decide given all this information, what are the factors to take into account when you're deciding. So this is how I'm going to run this video. I really hope it helps you because it is a very complex question. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's start with a quick overview of the boards, right? So starting with the IB, which is the International Baccalaureate Program. It was established in the 1960s to provide a globally recognized, rigorous and holistic curriculum. Now, the fee that you will pay for an IB school in India is around 10 to 30 lakhs per year, and you have some prestigious schools like Pathways Global and Ambani School in Mumbai, which follow the IB curriculum. One of the forte of the IB schools is that they offer a range of subjects. You will have good options in languages, science, humanities, arts, even design, and a lot of interdisciplinary courses. So IB has huge elective options that your kid can study. And lastly, global recognition. So it is highly respected worldwide, especially by the top universities in US, UK, and Europe. We will talk more about it in the next section. Next, let's talk about the IGCSE or the International General Certificate of Secondary Education Board, which is also popularly known as the Cambridge Board because it was developed by the University of Cambridge. Now, the fee here will vary between 3 to 10 lakhs per year, and you have some great school options here, including the British International School in Mumbai or the International School chain in New Delhi. Now, subject option again here, like IB, a lot of options in languages, science, math, humanities are available, and global recognition is solid as well because this is recognized in 140 countries worldwide, particularly in Europe, UK and Asia. So if you're thinking again of a global education, a very good option is Cambridge Board. Next, let's talk about the CBSE, which is Central Board of Secondary Education. This was created by the Indian government to standardize the education across the country. The fee here can vary between 50,000 to 2 lakhs per year, and we have some again amazing options, including the whole DPS chain which follows the CBSE curriculum. You have also Bal Bharati public school system. I think it's pretty prevalent in northern India. Talking of the subject selection though, it is pretty limited and it focuses mainly on core subjects in science, math and commerce streams, not many electives on arts, humanities, etc. Global recognition is also limited. It's mainly recognized in India. Globally, I think it's only recognized in UAE or something. Lastly, let's talk about the ICSE board, which is the Indian Certificate of Secondary Education. Now, this was founded by the Council of the Indian School Certificate Examinations to provide a more comprehensive curriculum. The fee for these schools, by the way, these are really popular in Mumbai, and also some schools in Gurgaon like Shri Ram School follows this curriculum. In Mumbai, you have a lot of options, some popular ones like the Cathedral and John Connon School in Mumbai and La Martiniere for boys in Kolkata. They follow the ICSE structure. The fee will be around 1 to 5 lakhs per year. So I think just a little less than maybe the Cambridge board fee, but more than CBSE. And subject options is wider than CBSE, but huge emphasis on English language, arts and projects, and some analytical skills. Now, global recognition is very limited, although it's well respected within India. Now, I come to the second part of this video, which is what is the biggest problem with each board. And this is where now I'll start giving you my opinion, some information that you can't easily find online. So let's talk about the biggest problem with IB board, and that is it's expensive. I mean, not a lot of families can actually shell out 10 to 30 lakhs per year on their kids' education, right? So the fee is a huge barrier to entry itself. Very few families in India will be able to afford it. And secondly, I feel that IB schools cater to a very elite, affluent community. So the peer group, thus the students that are studying in these classrooms, they come from very wealthy families. I mean, you will see parents are driving in their BMWs and Mercs to drop the kids. So which can make it tough for any child from a lesser income family or even an average middle class family to feel or to adjust in such an environment, right? So if you're not used to such peer groups, your child might start feeling odd, awkward, or even out of the place in the classroom, which is not at all a good feeling for a kid. So it's important to ask yourself if this is the kind of environment you want for your child. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, then rethink the IB option. Now let's talk about the Cambridge board, and I think the biggest problem there is that many of the Cambridge board schools that I see, they offer IGCSE only till grade 10, and then they push students into the IB curriculum for grades 11th and 12th, which can be a tricky transition for some students. And even if you don't want it, I think because you have studied Cambridge board until then, you are pushed to go for IB in 11th and 12th. So just keep that in mind, and whichever school you are enrolling, do find out if they are continuing with Cambridge board in 11th and 12th, or if they're moving you to IB, and whether that's okay with you or not. Talking about the biggest problem with CBSE, I think everybody knows it. They really are not suited for study abroad applications, especially for competitive universities like Oxbridge, which is Oxford and Cambridge. Now, here's a fact. Oxbridge rarely admits CBSE students, and even the ones which get in will have some stellar profile, and they want CBSE kids to give at least 5 AP exams and score a 4 or 5 points in them. So that is how demanding they are, and that is a way for them to say that we do not entertain CBSE kids, and if you want to get in, you have to prove that you're exceptional. And we saw this playing, in fact, in with one of our clients who was an exceptional student from modern school in Delhi, following the CBSE curriculum, but he even got the interview at Cambridge, but ultimately he was not selected. And one of the things they said was that, like, without a proper AP score, we are not able to entertain you. And I think the reason there was that he was coming from a CBSE background. So I strongly believe that if kid was studying in IB curriculum, he would have cracked much better universities in UK and US. So that's the harsh fact about CBSE. They will limit your choices, and they will make you work very hard to get a similar admit that a IB kid will get easily in these abroad universities. Now the CBSE system, as we know, is very exam centric also. So I also question the kids' personality development. It does not really contribute to that. So there's no holistic development of the kid happening in CBSE. It's mainly focused on rote learning, theoretical concepts, etc. They are just preparing your kid to crack an exam, which is okay if that's your main goal, but yeah, it can limit the personality development of the kid. Talking about the ICSE, my biggest problem is that while you offer a very rigorous curriculum, and actually I've seen kids stressing about ICSE exams, right, much more than CBSE exam, and you focus heavily on language and analytical skills, but you are neither catering to study abroad crowd, nor you are preparing very well for the Indian entrance exam. So you're somewhere in between, and I think it's neither here nor there kind of a case, right? And even limited global recognition. So if I suddenly decide that I want to study abroad, my ICSE board is not really going to help me much. So those were my biggest problem with each of the boards, right? Now, in the third part of this video, I want to talk about the best part about each board. And let's start with IB here. My favorite thing about IB board, hands down, is the interdisciplinary projects they have in their curriculum. So I love how they emphasize critical thinking, research, and interdisciplinary skills. So a typical example of a IB project could be, they will ask the kid to design a sustainable city. Now for this project, the kid will use their geography skills to plan the city layout based on climate and resources. They will also look into the physics and engineering aspect to design energy efficient buildings. They will also apply economics to create budgets and analyze the financial feasibility. They might also employ social studies to ensure inclusivity, and also think of arts for aesthetic factors. So this is as close to real world consulting as it gets. So most of their projects make the kid think of a problem from multiple lenses and prepares them beautifully for the real world problems that come later on. And as opposed to it, if you look into the kind of projects that come in CBSE or ICSE boards, are something like that, like, study the pollution in a local water body. And what they expect the kids to do is collect water samples, analyze them for pH, turbidity, etc., and then write a report, and which is also like, the format of the report is pretty much well set, and they will not allow you to be super creative or change things around. So that is my problem with CBSE, that it prepares you for theoretical concepts, rote learning, and a linear thinking. It does not encourage a broad horizontal thinking where you are connecting the dots between different disciplines. I feel that, IB emphasizes critical thinking, and this really helps the student develop a more well-rounded profile for global universities also, and for the later on pursuing a global careers in most prestigious industries, be it consulting, be it strategy, be it entrepreneurship, etc. Next, the best part about IGCSE, I would say, is its global recognition. I mean, being recognized in 140 countries, it makes the movement very easy, and this is why you will see a lot of NRI families who are moving from one country to another because of their professional reasons, usually prefer to have their kids in the Cambridge board because they are widely available in so many different countries. Plus, it offers a balanced approach. It's a good mix of flexibility and structure. You get a lot of elective options, so each kid can find something to follow. And we have many clients from Singapore, UAE, and Japan who are studying in Cambridge board. They have varied interests and very competitive profile for top colleges. Next, CBSE, and despite everything negative that we talk here, the fact remains it is the most cost effective option. So if you don't want to shell out like 10-15 lakhs per year, then settle with a CBSE school, and especially it's ideal for families who want to focus on Indian exams like JEE and NEET, because then it's very aligned to it. The curriculum is same for the exam as well as your board exam, so the kid doesn't have to spend those extra hours balancing everything in. So if you're focusing on competitive exams in India, it's a no-brainer, just go with the CBSE. Lastly, ICSE, I would say the strength here is a good academic balance and more rigorous curriculum. So if you care about personality development as well, but can't afford really the IB board, then I think ICSE is a good compromise because it's more flexible or rigorous than CBSE, but it's also less expensive than the international board. So it offers a good or a decent mix of both the worlds if you don't care much about the study abroad option. All right, so now we come to the last section, which is how exactly to decide. I mean, these are standalone factors, but still, how do I decide? So now that we have looked at the details, here's how I think you should think about it. Firstly, there is no right or wrong choice. As I mentioned, every board has its pros and cons. It might be a great fit for your friends, family, but it may not be a good fit for you. So you have to eventually think of what is your end goal. If your child's ultimate goal is studying abroad, I think international boards, be it Cambridge or in IB, are your best bets. If your child is aiming for Indian exams like JEE or NEET, CBSE is the right fit. Second thing you have to look at is the budget. If you don't want to spend 10 lakhs or more, remove IB as an option, right? Stick to CBSE or consider Cambridge board or ICSE depending on other factors. And that's okay. Like, don't feel FOMO in case you're not able to go with the international boards. Lastly, flexibility and global perspective. If you value a global education, I think Cambridge board is a good compromise. And if you can afford and are liberal in your mindset, IB is definitely a solid choice. I have seen IB kids, their personality, their way of talking, their approach to problems is just very, very holistic, and they are much more prepared for a global career than I would say a CBSE kid who will fall, who will learn on their own, who will experiment with life. So it's not like, of course, they will hustle and they will find their ways, but IB can put those qualities in the initial years itself in your kid's brain, and that I think overall leads to a better personality development, and these kids maybe are better suited for, I think, executive kind of roles later on. All right, so let me conclude this very, very complex topic today, because the fact is there is no right or wrong answer. There is no right board or wrong board, right? Like, your friend may end up with something else because that is right for them. You don't have to do something just because your neighbor's kid is going somewhere, or because your nephew did something, or because your cousin is going to IB school doesn't mean that you should also do the same thing. So don't give in to FOMO. It's not like IB is the right solution for everything and that CBSE has all the problems. It's not like that. And this is honestly why I started 24 North Star, because I know the choices are overwhelming. We work with all kind of boards. I have personally worked with high school kids coming from CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE and IB boards. They all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses, and ultimately everybody is able to forge a path eventually that they like to be. I think the key is to start early. So start in 9th grade, start planning things a little bit and keep your options open instead of worrying too much about what board is right for me, because I do believe in one mantra. The school is not going to do everything for you. What matters more is what you do in that school. So wherever you go, wherever the kid goes, if they are able to do the right things there, if they feel happy there, they are going to be successful. So just focus on that. So I hope the video helps. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if I've missed something. I would love to know your opinion. And if you want me to create more such videos, yes, please do again tell me in the comments as well, and hit the like button. It really helps me. So that was it from my side. It was a long video, but I hope it helped. I will see you guys next Sunday with a fresh new video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.